Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Access Me Salon, where I will be exploring thousands of access consciousness classes recorded over the last 30 years. The first recording from 1986 until 2022. Join me and find out who likes what class best. I will be interviewing guests from all over the world, people who came to Access very early and who recently joined. So come and explore the world of Access Me. And here we go with another Access Me Salon session today with a very special guest, Sylvia Puentes. Welcome.
Thank you, David. I'm so excited to hear the other conversations that you have as well about everything on the access.me. So thank you for having
Well,
me.
thank you for joining us. And you are from the Las Americas regions. You facilitate a lot in Spanish. I still remember when I started facilitating, I was keen to learn the Access vocabulary. So I secretly stalked you when you did your Facebook Lives in Spanish. Beautiful, amazing, bilingual conversations you had. So I'm very honored to have you here as my guest today and find out about your favorite Access Me class. What is it that you would recommend to everyone because you love it so much? What's your topic, Sylvia?
Well, I got to say, I've been one of those humanoids just hopping around, really like, oh, what's this? Oh, I remember that class. Oh, and then being excited about the really, really old ones before I arrived. And actually, the one that I did choose, I've been facilitating the specialty, Right Voice for You. It was one of my first specialties. So in
Mhm.
Access Consciousness, we have these wealth of specialty classes that allow people to become familiar with the tools, and then they can choose to other classes. So in the Access.me app, what I found was the very first conversation about specialty classes. And and it doesn't even have an actual graphic. It's not a picture graphic, but it says specialty classes. And it's one that both Gary and Dade facilitated. I want to say maybe back in 2009. Um,
Oh,
and it might have been earlier. But the conversation that I would invite every facilitator to go listen to that, even if you don't facilitate a specialty, because I it was like this refresh, um, generative energy of why specialties exist. Especially a specialty like Right Voice for You, where it's about, empowering people to have their voice and their presence in the world. And I realized that what I'm facilitating now is a bit different than what originally was what Gary had looked at inviting us to facilitate. So now it's increased what I can now facilitate as a Right Voice for You facilitator. And it's just gem after gem. It's like I'm stopping every minute, taking notes. Stop, wait, rewind.
so right voice for you is not about singing on stage only. Is that what you just said?
Exactly. And he says that it's not about singing. And it really is, empowering people to choose that consciousness in their life and have like explore those creative capacities that people have. Like explore that and empower them to choose to leap into choosing that and having that in their lives. Yeah. Beautiful.
Wonderful. So, Sylvia, I'm curious now. Do you remember? Well, first of all, when did you find out about access consciousness? When did you join the club? Let's call it that way.
I heard about access consciousness in 2010. That was when I first heard of it.
And do you still remember your first core class you attended with Gary or Dane, or even with both? What was that?
Well, it wasn't a core class, it was an intro class. They had come out to Northern California in about 40 minutes from where I live. So I'm like, they're here, why not go? And they were both doing a short evening class. And Gary's was titled Getting Off the Short Bus, which I'm not, all right, I'll acknowledge I may still be on the short bus every now and then, but great title. And I was just amazed when I first went into the class and saw Gary. I was like, it was almost like, what is this? Like, who is this? What is this? Because I could see what he was being that was so different than anything I had seen in the world. And I could perceive as he facilitated every different person. Just he was willing to be soft. He was willing to be intense. And I was like, what the heck? Like, it was just so new to me, and I couldn't stop laughing. I was like laughing, he'd say something, and I just could see the joke of life through what he was saying. And then at a break, I remember he turned to me in a very serious voice and he said, "Now you stop having fun." And I'm all, "Oh, I'm having fun." I didn't even realize that I was enjoying it so much. You can imagine me, right, David, up in the front row, just cracking up. And not only was it that, but I also had physical change. I had physical change with this exercise he did in class, and it was something with my arm, and I literally searched for it and had never, ever come back again. So for me, there was that play, that joy, and change, physical change. I thought, well, I'm curious now, like, what is this? And then meeting Dane, on a following evening, I was like, thank you so much, Dane. I remember telling him, I had no idea that you could, because he would bounce around in all sorts of topics, just like I am now, but he had what's the word? No judgment of himself. And I just remember saying, thank you. Like, I had no idea that that was okay, because I had lived with so much judgment that, that I didn't have the order or organized perhaps like I thought I needed to be. And he just shared just a whole entire different space. And that evening class with Dane too, which is something, for people, you'll find in the Access.me app, tasters or intros that are in there as well that you can explore. And these were the evening classes, that were, on the evening of a bigger class. And it was just a great way to get an introduction to the Access tools, and also very potent. I mean, that evening class with Dane was when he called me up to the table and changed my reality with that question, when was the last time you were truly happy? And,
Wow.
I got to uncover a lot of the joy that was there that I didn't realize I had hidden. So, yeah.
So is that evening taste, are these two evening classes on the Access Me app? Did you find them?
I haven't searched. Oh my gosh.
I
Thank you
was
for that. I'll
wondering,
have to
have you
search.
ever listened to the very first question you ever asked in your first Access class?
Oh my gosh. I'll have to now. Now I'm really curious, because being facilitated those classes too. It's like, there's that in a CFP class there in San Francisco that Gary facilitated. I'm going to search for that one, because it was out day one. I went to my hotel room and I went into panic because there was an earthquake. And I called, home. I was like, oh my God, there's an earthquake. And then I was married at the time. And so my husband was like, there's no earthquake, Sylvia. And I discovered that sometimes you have so much change in a class that literally it feels as if the earth is trembling underneath your feet. And that was, back then it was called the level 2 and 3. So I'm going to search for that, David. So thank you. Thank you for that. I hadn't explored specific classes that I had attended.
So when someone is actually brand new and just found out this app and is excited to get started, what would your advice be? Where to start, where to explore, and how to explore this almost infinite universe of possibilities of 30 years of Access classes? What's your recommendation?
I would say look through it all. Like, imagine if you like shopping, like you walk into this, when I walk into all this incredible designer clothes or whatever it is, I like to look at it all. So I do one sweep. So I would invite you to explore all the different categories, scroll to the left, to the left, scroll up and down, and just take a look, because there is a lot. And it is, some have some beautiful graphics that may pull you, others don't. And then use the question, go, what would contribute to me, my body, and my life to listen to right now? And you may be amazed at what shows up. What I'm noticing, I'm also a certified facilitator. And what I'm noticing is that these are classes I want to listen to with the notepad. Like, it really is like a course, like an academic course where there's so many tools and just explained in new ways, or things that I wasn't aware of, the information I didn't have, or a way to deliver a tool, that I'm taking notes. I'm going, okay, what can I share different within the areas where I'm facilitating now? So that's what I would share. For the newbies, explore and then ask that question.
Well, that's really good. And you just mentioned that you as a facilitator use it as well as a source. What would your recommendation to facilitators be?
Well, for me, for example, I started to look at, I was going to facilitate a Right Voice for You class. I was like, I wonder what were the topics, or what, where did this start? Like, what is the oldest Right Voice for You class? And that's how I discovered the one that, I have literally in just the first call, there is so much that I'm not ready to go to two. I still wanted to listen to one again. Like, it really is, if you're willing to, as a CF, like, really, there is so much there. So, for me, it really is becoming like I'm going to go study. Let me give myself a glass of wine, my notepad, and I'm going to go study, which I don't tend to do very much, but they're gem after gem after gem. And, I did hear Gary say recently that part of what, why he opened it at such a great price is also for us as facilitators, so I would invite every facilitator to explore it, to really look at how to grow as a facilitator, empower yourself with some new tools or ways of explaining things. But there's so much gems of inviting us to be with these tools, and inviting us to invite people to consciousness in a way that I had not, or maybe I had forgotten, so it's this refresher course as well. So, yeah.
Beautiful. So as you mentioned, the specialties, I know there are a lot of specialties. What other specialties are available? What other areas, or what areas in life can you handle with the classes that you find on Access Me? Can you give us a little, overview on what is available in this infinite fundus of possibilities?
Well, the other ones that you have in there are X-Men classes. And for me, as I meet different people around the world, many of the people that are struggling the most, you might say, is where they've made themselves so wrong because they don't fit in. And listening to these X-Men classes as a facilitator are giving me new tools to now facilitate these people that I meet. And I just finished a class out here in Ecuador, and the lady that had come in such wrongness of who she was, who she left after 3 days, I was just like, wow. Beautiful, bright, happy. I'm like, that's the world we get to create. And I'm like, and get to invite people to choose. So for me, yeah, the X-Men classes, even if you don't think you're an X-Men, you might just want to explore it, because it might give you insights to how you see the world, and it might just help you just get a little more clarity and maybe step out of the wrongness a little
So
more.
for those people who are new to this, what is an X-Men?
Well, X-Men, it's this kind of fun label or topic that was given to explain to people that are either labeled with, disabilities, where it really is an exploration of these areas where you've seen yourself wrong, where you don't fit in, or you've been labeled, and begin to look at the strength of that, and how really you have capacities and way of perhaps perceiving the world and being in the world, that you have an advantage, not a disadvantage. So for me, yeah, it's that one. And then for all of those that maybe, either facilitators or just have businesses, like the amount of wealth in there, David, joy of business classes, those business done different, but also the leadership classes. There's an old one, I think was Chachissa and Stephen Bowman's with Gary, these conversations they were having with leadership in business. And I'm like, those are also gems. So it's like truly every area of your life is on the access.me. You can explore any area and begin to have some new tools, some new ways of, maneuvering through this world, but beginning to know that you can, I guess, express yourself and enjoy living in a whole different way with these tools. Yeah.
Beautiful. So one question I get asked a lot for people who haven't explored the app yet, and I want to ask that to you as my guest. Do you ever get bored re-listening to a class? You mean watching the same movie all over again? Um, is any of that occurring in your universe?
It's almost like I don't have enough hours in the day to listen to everything I'd like to listen to, because I'm also, we just finished Maestro in Rome, and I was online, and I'm like, I want to listen to that. And yet, I have this incredible app, and it just, I have a wealth of resources, and I get to say, when and when, and do I get tired of it? I would say no. Because as I change, one of the things that I'm discovering, even going through manuals, I'm all, was that always written that way? Like, and same thing with audios. I'm all like, I didn't hear that before. So as I change, is I'm willing to, be open to receive certain things, looking at areas that maybe I'd like something different in. Yes, no, I don't get tired of them. Not at all. And in this one in particular, the Right Voice for You one, yeah, I invite you, David, go check it out, because it is a
I
gem
will. I
if you
will.
haven't
You just,
already. It
I didn't even
it
know that it
really is. Yeah.
exists. Beautiful.
So,
So,
want to hear another surprise that I got when I went into the access.me searching for
yes,
Right Voice
please
for
go for
You?
it.
Huh? So I searched for Right Voice for You classes, and I mentioned, I've been a facilitator. It was my very first one. So I'm going, oh, I wonder what's up there for Right Voice for You. All of a sudden, I see Sylvia Puentes, and I'm like, what? It was an intro class I did on Right Voice for You. Wow, maybe back in 2018 during Dr. Dane's COP in Brazil. I haven't listened to it yet, but it is there. So I will build the courage and listen to my own intro class. So that was a surprise, and I hope it
Wonderful.
contributes to people, because it was a very beautiful intro that opened up a lot for a lot of people there. And I remember Dr. Dane was in the room when I started, and I was like, oh, he's in the room. My guru's in the
He's
room.
listening.
Um,
Beautiful. So
but
last
yes,
question.
there's so many things. Yes.
As you will start exploring the Access Me on and on again, what would be your second favorite class? The second one where you go, oh my God, that's the next gem on my list. Any hint, any topic?
The second one, yes, the second one I'd say was something I've been very curious about since I started in Access. And that was, you probably have heard it from many, but when Gary started Access, he was channeling. So there's
Mhm.
a few classes there from those early days of when Gary was facilitating Raz. And one of the things I enjoy about that is the humor that's in there, embedded to what's possible for us to choose. Um, they're, I guess I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that they're included, and to
Mhm.
hear that perspective from Raz of where we either take life too serious, we're making it way too hard, like so that humor and play that's in there, and the incredible awareness is in such a simple way that he
Beautiful.
delivers it. So those are, yeah, that's Gem as well.
Wonderful. So if anyone out there is now wondering what channeling is and who Rath is, get the app. And instead of thinking about it, download it and dive in and just listen to one of those really, really very, very early recordings where Gary literally sat down and channeled. So go explore, find out. Sylvia Puentes, thank you so much for being my guest today. And thank you for being such an amazing, inspiring facilitator. You were the one who inspired me to facilitate in Spanish, and now I do so.
Yay.
A very personal thanks to you. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye, David. We'll see you
Bye
soon.
bye.
Bye, everyone. Enjoy the app. Yes.